have spent my entire life either at the schoolhouse, on the way to the schoolhouse, or talking about what happens in the schoolhouse. Rita Pierson, an educator since 1972, was a counselor, testing coordinator, and assistant principal. In each of these roles, she brought a special energy, a desire to get to know each and every one of her students. Today, it's my privilege to share in front of you Every Kid Deserves a Champion by Rita Pierson. Both my parents were educators. My maternal grandparents were educators. And for the past 40 years, I've done the same thing. And so, needless to say, over those years, I've had a chance to look at education reform from a lot of perspectives. Some of those reforms have been good, some not so good. And we know why kids drop out. We know why kids don't learn. It's either poverty or low attendance or negative peer influences. We know why. But one of the things we never discuss, or we rarely discuss, is the value and importance of human connection. Relationships. James Comer says that no significant learning can occur without a significant relationship. George Washington Carver says that all learning is understanding relationships. Everyone in this room has been affected by a teacher or an adult. For years, I've watched people teach. I looked at some of the best and I've looked at some of the worst. A colleague said to me one time, "They don't pay me to like the kids. They pay me to teach a lesson. The kids should learn it. I should teach it. They should learn it. Case closed." Well, I said to her, kids don't learn from people they don't like. She said, "That's just a bunch of hooey." And I said, "Well, your year is going to be long and arduous, dear." Needless to say, it was. Some people think that you either have it in you to build a relationship or you don't. I think Stephen Covey had the right idea. He says, you ought to just throw in some simple things, like seeking first to understand as opposed to being understood. Simple things like apologizing. You ever thought about that? Tell a kid you're sorry, they're in shock. I taught a lesson once on ratios. I'm not real good with math, but I was working on it. I got back and looked at that teacher's edition. I taught the whole lesson wrong. So I got back the next day and told all my students, "Look, guys, I need to apologize. I taught the whole lesson wrong the other day. I'm so sorry." They said, "That's okay, Miss Pierson. You were so excited, we just let you go." I have had classes that were so low, so academically deficient, that I cried. I wondered, how am I going to take this group in 9 months from where they are to where they need to be? And it was difficult. It was awfully hard. How do I raise the self-esteem in a child and his academic achievement at the same time? One year I came up with a bright idea. I told all my students, "You were chosen to be in my class because I am the best teacher and you are the best students." They put us all together so we can show everyone else how to do it. One of the students said, "Really?" I said, "Really. We have to to show all the other classes how to do it. So when we walk down the halls, we can't make any noise. We just have to strut. And I gave them a saying to say. I am somebody. I was somebody when I came. I'll be a better somebody when I leave. I am powerful. I am strong. I deserve the education that I get here. I have things to do, people to impress, and places to go. And they said, yeah! You say it long enough, it starts to be a part of you. I gave a quiz, 20 questions. A student missed 18. I put a +2 on his paper and a big smiley face. He came up to me and said, Miss Pierson, is this an F? I said, yes. He said, then why'd you put a big smiley face on it? I said, 'cause you're on a roll. You got 2 right, you didn't miss them all. And when we review this, won't you do better? He said, yes, ma'am, I can do better. You see, -18 sucks all the life out of you. +2 says, I ain't all bad. For years, I watched my mother take the time at recess to review. Go on home visits in the afternoon and buy combs and brushes and peanut butter and crackers for kids who needed to eat. And a washcloth and some soap for kids who didn't smell so good. You see, it's difficult to teach kids who stink. And kids can be cruel. And so she kept all these things in her desk. And years later, after she retired, I watched some of those same kids come up to her and say, you know, Miss Walker, you made a difference in my life. You made me feel like I was somebody when I knew at the bottom I wasn't. And I just want you to see me for what I've become. And when my mama died 2 years ago at 92, there were so many former students at her funeral, it brought tears to my eyes. Not because she was gone, but because she left a legacy of relationships that could never disappear. Can we stand to have more relationships? Absolutely. Will you like all your children? Of course not. And you know your toughest students are never absent. Never. And while you won't like them all, the key is they can never, ever know it. So teachers become great actors and great actresses. And we come to work when we don't feel like it. And we listen to policy that doesn't make any sense. And we teach anyway. We teach anyway because that is what we do. Teaching and learning should bring great joy. How powerful would our world be if we had children who weren't afraid to take risks and who weren't afraid to think and who had a champion? Every child deserves a champion. An adult who will never give up on them, who understands the power of connection and insists they become the best they can possibly be. Is this job tough? You betcha. Oh God, you betcha. But it is not impossible. We can do this. We're educators. We're born to make a difference.